Argentina, the second largest country in South America, is like 100 little countries inside of one. Among the regions, you'll find a breathtaking, bizarre combination of different landscapes and microclimates. One week you might be scaling mountains in Patagonia, and the next you could be visiting subtropical Iguazu Falls. This mixture of unique regions creates a culinary environment that Argentines are fiercely proud of. It would be impossible to do all of Argentine cuisine justice in a short time frame, so I'm going to mostly focus on the food inside of the massive metropolitan area of the capital, Buenos Aires, or Buenos Aires if you're a gringo. There are some Argentine staples that are ubiquitous, except for little regional twists here and there, and these platos típicos can be found everywhere in Buenos Aires. But don't worry, we'll stray off the beaten path a little bit, too. Buenos Aires province is mostly low-lying plains, grassy areas with a ton of farms and lots of ranches, or estancias. And it's on these estancias where historically gauchos, or the Argentine cowboys, used to wrangle cattle to feed the quickly growing nation of Argentina. And since industrial farming, things have changed a little bit, but the estancias are still there, and the gauchos still carry on that delicious tradition of the Argentine barbecue, or the asado. The gauchos begin the process by letting a fire reduce to a thin bed of coals, and then bringing out a massive grill called a parrilla, on which they throw tons of savory goodies, including every tubed meat you could imagine. But things are just getting started, because on the other side of the pit, there's a giant cut of ribs which they skewer with a cross-shaped asador, and they let it cook over open flames for a good 2 hours. Once the ribs have had time to slow cook, it's time to dig in. You've got every part of the cow used here, so nothing goes to waste. You've got normal cuts like strip loins, T-bones, ribeyes, and rump. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can brave the thymus glands, kidney, and small intestines. There's also a really good blood sausage called morcilla.
Lo que dan es una morcilla fría, ¿no?
Chicken and pork are also served, but I wouldn't even bother. Beef is the main attraction here. And no fancy marinades either. Only a light coating of salt is traditionally used for the asado. If you're looking for something a little less touristy, I would definitely go for the home-cooked asado. On Sundays in Buenos Aires, friends and family from all around gather to eat, drink, and crack wise. So, when my friend Camila invited me to her family's asado, I couldn't refuse. Her father, the grill master, even let me carve the roast beast. A few hours into the meal, drinks started flowing freely. There was limoncello and Campari and orange juice, 2 Italian classics. Absinthe? Don't mind if I do. Luckily, they broke out the mate before I made a drunken ass of myself. Mate is a strong tea that Argentines swear by, and it's traditionally drank in social situations such as this. If you ever find yourself in Argentina, do not pass up on the asado. It was an unforgettable barbecue experience, and I gotta be honest, it ruined all other barbecues for me. So on second thought, if you like barbecues, maybe steer clear of the asado. Empanadas are sort of like the love child of a calzone and a turnover pastry. They're an Argentine staple, originally hailing from Spain and Portugal. They're made by putting savory fillings on a rolled-out piece of dough, folding over, and sealing the dough in the traditional braided style. Bake and throw multiples into your face. And there's also a fried version. In Buenos Aires, some of the most common fillings are beef, chicken, and cheese and onion. There are lots of hole-in-the-wall joints that cater to hungry neighborhood salt-of-the-earth types, each with a unique style of preparation that's been perfected over many years. My favorite is El San Juanino, a cozy and unassuming little joint, but don't be fooled by the neighborhood feel. The 2 locations are local institutions. So after a long night out, drag your hungover ass to an empanaderia and order one of each kind.
I'm gonna be rude and say, with my mouth full, I don't give a fuck, this is delicious. Yeah!
Carnivores rejoice. Mataderos is a neighborhood named after the butcher shops that historically lined its streets. Every weekend, the barrio hosts an artisanal folk fair called La Feria de Mataderos. Here you can find plenty of handmade cooking ingredients from herbs to balsamic and olive oils. And of course, it wouldn't be Argentina without plenty of cured meats and cheese wedges at your fingertips. You can also find chorizos sizzling on the parrilla, steamy tamales, fried empanadas, and locro, a heavy stick-to-your-ribs stew of potato, corn, and meats. Honey beers on tap are also a good choice to wash all this down. There's a lot of great fried, doughy fair food like dulce de leche filled cubanitos and churros. At the center of the feria, there's a stage for traditional indigenous and Creole performances that you can watch while you chow down. Feria de Mataderos has a relaxed flea market type feel, but the products and food are quality. All of the meats and leather products are testaments to the grim but delicious butcher shop origins of Mataderos. Every big city has its own Chinatown. The one in Buenos Aires is located in the Belgrano neighborhood. It's only a couple of streets long, but it's dense, with many restaurants, gift shops, and supermarkets. In the markets, you can find ingredients that you wouldn't be able to get your hands on elsewhere in the city. Tiny counter restaurants also sell food to go, like these fried sweet potato balls. And it's not a legitimate food stand unless there are ducks hanging in the window. In the way of sit-down restaurants, Hong Kong style is a great place for fried rice and dumplings. And even though it's not Chinese, be sure to go to BBQ Town for some Korean barbecue, and don't leave until you've had at least 2 orders of pulgogi, oysters, and octopus. The Barrio Chino is a one-stop area for those who are looking for a break from empanadas and carne asado, as fresh, well-prepared seafood is a tough find outside of this cultural island. The Buenos Aires Chinatown is quality over quantity. What it lacks in size, it makes up for with great food. Argentina does pizza in a big way. The first thing you'll notice is that the crust is thicker and the cheese is everywhere. Because of this, most people eat their pizzas with a fork and knife, which is really the only sane way to go at these slices. You can also get a filling chickpea flatbread called faina. It goes well on top of rich white pizzas like the onion-covered fugaceta. And if olives aren't your choice topping, be warned, you'll be picking them off of everything. More for me though. Make sure to get some slices at El Cuartito, a legendary pizza joint near the Obelisco that specializes in the century-old classics. Around the turn of the century, large influxes of Italian immigrants brought with them delicious, thick gelato. You can't walk a block in Buenos Aires without running into a heladeria. Dulce de leche flavored ice cream is without a doubt the local favorite. It's a lighter than caramel taste that has a slight mocha flavor to it. Rapa Nui is a local chain that's operated by proud chocolatiers and helado enthusiasts, and it's one of the best places to get dulce de leche gelato. Also, for a couple dollars more, you can have them coat your ice cream with meringue and toast it, giving it a crunchy toasted marshmallow flavor. A lot of the heladerios in Buenos Aires are open late and deliver, giving you countless opportunities to indulge. It would be a crime to only talk about the food in Argentina without mentioning the drink. First, let's start with the beer. A good place to grab a pint with friends is Buehler Brewing in Recoleta. Sample a flight if it's your first time. For whatever reason, honey beer is a favorite in Argentine breweries, and I'm all for it. For the truly memorable beer experience though, a trip to Cordoba is necessary for the Oktoberfest. At first glance, Argentina seems like a very odd location for a drunken Bavarian folk festival, but not so much when considering the large population of German immigrants.
I think we are drunk so much.
If tromping around in the mud with a bunch of belligerent beer buffs doesn't sound like your scene, then you should head over to Mendoza, Argentina's wine country. Touring the wineries, or bodegas, is the best way to spend the day. Be sure to try the Torrontés and the Malbec, 2 distinctly Argentine varieties of grapes that are harder to get in the States. Sign up for as many tastings as possible. You'll usually get discounted bottles, and it's a relaxing way to view the Andes Mountains from the vineyards. If you're a beer enthusiast, you'll certainly get by in Argentina, but if you're a wine connoisseur, you'll be in paradise. In many ways, Argentine food is not typical of most South American countries. Instead of zest and spice, you'll find that Argentinos prefer a more meat and potatoes approach. Anything that's hearty and savory is fair game. There's really no surf and turf, it's more just turf. But there's also variety to be found thanks to diverse immigration patterns throughout the years. You just need to know where to look. By the end you might be having heart palpitations and be wishing for some greens, but you'll also have had some unforgettably delicious food and drink with boisterous, extremely hospitable people.